Welcome all you Plus 2 Comedy modifiers to another episode of the Plus 2 Comedy Podcast. I'm your host as always, TV's Noah Houlihan, and before we get started with a very special episode of the Plus 2 Comedy Podcast, I have to tell you about some upcoming shows. April 6th through the 8th, we will be at JohnCon, at Johns Hopkins Universities in Baltimore, Maryland. So please come see us. We'll be doing stand-up comedy. We'll be doing Game the Gamer. We'll be doing Beyond the Tentacle. And we will be doing a brand new nerd fitness panel. So come see all of that. It is a fantastic time at JohnCon, especially if you're a tabletop gamer. We hang out and we play a lot of board games at JohnCon. So come see us at JohnCon. For more information, Google JohnCon. It's just easier. Also, we will be heading on May 4th through the 6th, that's how weekends work, to Zenkai Con in Lancaster, Pennsylvania at the Lancaster Convention Center. Come see us. We'll be doing Game the Gamer and stand-up comedy at Zenkai Con. For more information, go to zenkaicon.com. We're also happy to announce that we will be returning to Wizard World Philadelphia. Wizard World Philadelphia runs from the 17th to the 20th of May in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Convention Center. So please come check us out at Wizard World. However, we will not be there Sunday because Sunday, May 20th, we will be at the Castle Point Anime Convention where we'll be doing stand-up comedy and also a little bit of cosplay pro wrestling. So come see us there as well. Now, about this episode. This is it. Once again, we are snowed in. The roads are bad. We didn't feel like dragging Will up all the way from Atlantic City. So, we're snowed in and we're hanging out and we're going to have a little bit of a chat with you. I am joined by the newest member of Plus 2 Comedy, Ms. Laura Prince. How are you doing, Laura?
Man, it's so weird when you record the intro, like, live here. Because there's a lot of time where I'm just like, I can't talk yet. Haven't been introduced.
That's why I always do it separately.
Like, I'm sitting there going like, what if you forget to date? What if I have to be the person going like, psst, you forgot Castle Point?
I would take any criticism. It'd be fine.
That's what they all say.
It's important that we get all of our dates out there. So come and see us. It's going to be great.
So we have a few that are pending that we're going to be able to talk about soon, coming up in June and July, but right now, up through May is what we're able to announce.
Yeah, I try not to give more than 4 dates, more than 4 performances, because I feel like people get overwhelmed.
That's true, and we also just can't really announce those
Yes.
yet.
Also, because I forgot this one, if you're listening to this today, it comes out on Monday, there's a chance that I will be performing at Stockton College. On Tuesday.
University.
I'm sorry, Stockton University. I forgot we digivolved. But yeah, I'll be returning to Stockton to do a show, apparently, on Tuesday, which would be the, what is that, the 27th?
Correct.
27th, yeah, at 8 o'clock. It's not confirmed yet, but I'll tell you people that. If you guys want to come.
We can always edit this out on Monday if it doesn't pan out.
Yeah, or I might just leave it in. They're not going to know if I don't do the show. They're not going to follow up and be like, hey, Noah, how was that show at Stockton? And then I'd have to be like, I didn't do it. So, anyway, what we've decided to do for this episode is, because I did one of these when we did solo episodes, but I haven't done one of these in quite some time. It's a mailbag episode.
A mailbag episode?
A mailbag episode. Basically, I reached out on Twitter and on Facebook and on our Facebook page and basically asked for topics for us to talk about. And I have them here on my phone.
Oh, I actually pulled them up on
a computer.
On an actual screen so that you weren't on your phone.
I just felt like being on my phone the whole time. So
we've got a bunch, actually. We posted this a few times, which now seems to be a mistake because we've got it in a few places.
We have so many topics. We have so many topics now.
Speed run!
Is that the one you want to start off with?
Oh, no. I just meant we're going to speed run through these topics.
Oh, okay.
We don't have all night, and we did get a lot of responses, actually, which is great.
So Mike Goldstein asked us to talk about WrestleMania 34, which I don't think we should do because I think we're going to do a WrestleMania episode coming up.
Yeah, I think we're going to do another in our living room episode. In your house.
Yeah, an in your house episode.
Oh, that's what we should call the WWE related episodes because it's a thing.
Yeah. Well,
I knew that.
Because we're also canceled for Infinity War. So we're going to have to do another one of these episodes coming up. So, in any case, that'll probably be on WrestleMania 34. But I believe Ronnie left us a question about entrances, and I think we can at least talk about that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So Ronnie asked us what special entrances we would see specifically for the Bobby Roode, Finn Balor, Jinder Mahal match.
Ronnie actually asked about Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, and Shinsuke Nakamura specifically. It was about those. The question was about those three specific wrestlers.
Because first off, Jinder Mahal's not getting a special entrance. It took him so long not to have his Titantron be his name in Papyrus.
Oh my
They're
God.
not giving him a special entrance. I'm also going to call right now, I don't think we'll get a special entrance for Finn. I don't think we're going to see the Demon for a year.
I wish we would, because I think we could do a really cool, like, voodoo, since he usually goes with local mythology.
They are in
New Orleans.
That's a good point.
I loved, during his NXT run, I loved those cheesy, like, the Dallas entrance when he comes out as Leatherface. Mwah!
My favorite was Jack the Ripper in England.
No, that one actually, like, they all make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted, when we went to NXT in Philly, I actually, like, entertained myself during one of the, like, breaks between matches, trying to think of what Finn Balor's entrance would have been.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it would have been a dead Hessian, or it would have been, like, the Headless Horseman or something.
Yeah.
Like a dead Revolutionary War icon.
That would have been neat.
And Sleepy Hollow's in New York, but that would have been, like, a good Revolutionary War kind of thing.
That would have made sense.
But I think I would love to see, like, a Friends from the Other Side, shout out to my Disney nerds, Voodoo, Dr. Facilier looking.
Yeah, but Undertaker kind of did that 2 years ago.
The WWE assumes that we have the memory of a goldfish,
This is true. But I think the Demon was seen too much in NXT, and I think we're going to take a long break from him. And I
maybe
think
we'll see the next Demon when we go to Mania 35.
That sounds about right.
Jersey Devil entrance!
Oh, that would be awesome. What I would like to see, though, from Bobby Roode, because I think we'll get a Bobby Roode special entrance. This is what I want. I want his music to play, and I want him on his turntable with his arms out and slowly turning around. And then once he faces the crowd, I want him to stay completely stationary and be lifted on cables and fly to the ring. Like Seven did in WCW,
my God.
but more glorious.
And less pedophily.
Yes, and 110% less pedophily.
Kids, if you don't want to sleep tonight, Google WCW 7 promos.
Yeah.
Because the vignettes they had to introduce that character were, like, literally the scariest thing I've ever seen.
They're terrifying.
I watched them at work one day, like, I guess, like, 5 years ago, before I held my current employers. I watched it, like, a long time ago at work, and it was, like, 3 o'clock on a sunny Friday afternoon, and I was freaked out.
Well, have you ever seen his debut?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I
won't spoil it, kids. Just go ahead and watch
I fell
that.
down a big old YouTube hole with because I looked at the Nightmare Fuel page on TV Tropes about wrestling, and there was 7.
Yeah, 7 was terrifying.
Bobby Roode, I kind of want, like, an elevated turntable. Like, I kind of want it to just keep going up, so it kind of goes in line with what you were saying.
Like a screw?
Yeah, like, either that or, like, I want sets. Like, I want, like, a giant curtain with, like, that's similar to his cloak.
That's a good one. I like that.
I don't know that we're gonna get, like, a crazy entrance for Bobby Roode, though.
I think he's one of the few that I think should get one.
I'm trying to think of who else deserves one.
I think they'll do something with Shinsuke, but, like, beyond having that violin player, I can't think of anything.
They can't get more...
It's outside.
I am legitimately surprised that they do not have to put a content warning.
They do in England.
I'm surprised they don't have to here, considering every time we turn on our PlayStation, there's a content warning of, like, hey, if you have epilepsy, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
And I'm really surprised they don't have to do that with any show Shinsuke is on.
That's a good point.
I honestly can't watch it, and like I don't have any pre-existing medical condition, and it bothers me, and I can't watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a bit much, but that's what I'm thinking for his entrance. I think it's going to be his usual violin player will come out and do stuff.
Ronnie also posted a lobster motorcycle.
Yeah, I don't...
And that has to be Undertaker's entrance. Everyone's saying they want the American Badass. I want him to ride out on a crawdad. Yeah. Like a crawdad motorcycle.
Like super like American. Like, he's like, yeah, we eat lobster, and he's going to have an apple pie, and wear a baseball cap, and...
Make America Great Again cap.
I didn't want to go down that... I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go that far, but... But yeah, Undertaker is not, of course, confirmed to have a match yet. And everybody is saying they want American Badass. I disagree.
I like the Dead Man better.
And also, like, American Badass Taker versus John Cena is a match we've seen before. Like, that's kind of one of the things that made John Cena, is his match with The Undertaker. So I don't think I've ever seen him fight the Dead Man.
Yeah, and the Dead Man is such a cooler character. Like, I don't particularly care for American Badass Taker. I think he's not... For me, part of the mystique of The Undertaker is that he is one of the only supernatural characters outside of Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy ?
Yeah.
But I loved that, and it's a character that, you know, I grew up with. I remember when I watched WWF with my cousins, The Undertaker existing.
Yeah.
So I kind of love that timeless... I actually thought his match with Bray Wyatt was going to be more of a mantle passing, and that Bray Wyatt was going to pick up more of Taker's power.
I thought it was... I mean, he did that. Remember when he absorbed his powers, and he's like, I control the lightning. I control the fire. And then he lost at Survivor Series.
Yeah, and then, you know, WWE's like, you don't remember that.
No, you don't. It's dumb. Breaking news, I got news on my show that I'm going to be doing at Stockton. I'd be getting free pizza if I want in at the Student Center. If you want it, you're in. I'm gonna say that I'm in. So I'll be performing with Jay Black at 8:00 at the Student Center at Stockton College.
Yo, does he want to book me?
Awesome. I am in.
We actually...
Oh, we got more?
Yeah, I actually got a live comment on one of our... So I also posted on my Facebook something about the saddest Broadway musical song. So I've been getting pop-ups like, hey, this Broadway musical song will make you cry. So, one of the... Do you want to talk about the Colossal Con cruise?
No, I thought you wanted to talk about the saddest song.
No, you don't know a lot of musicals. What do you think is the saddest song in a musical?
The saddest song in a musical?
Yeah, like what song always kind of like gets you?
See, I would say the saddest moment I've ever had in a musical was, you know what? This is going to be a weird pick.
Is it going to be Godspell?
No, it's not going to be Godspell.
Oh, thank God.
I hate Godspell. I'm going to go, because, like, I remember in that moment being very uncomfortable hearing this song and being very, like, disturbed and sad. And it's I'm Alive from Next to Normal.
I mean, you're supposed to be uncomfortable.
And
spoilers for Next to Normal.
Spoilers for Next to Normal.
The big spoiler for Next to Normal.
And we went and saw it. I forget where we saw it.
Haddonfield Plays and Players.
And did not know the twist in it. And it blew me away.
I took great pains to not spoil it for you.
Yeah, so it was... I would say that... I'm going to actually just dance around the spoilers, but, like, hearing that and being like, oh, but no. That's the one that I think struck the biggest emotional core. That
song is so... Like, that show is good.
Yeah.
The reprise of I Am the One, where, Gabe's father, Dan, goes the entire play without acknowledging his son by name. And at the very end of that song, which is almost at the end of Act 2, Dan is sitting alone. He says, Gabriel. And then it goes like, and I know you know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's a moment where you're just like, oh!
Yeah. So that would be my choice. What would be your choice, love?
Mine, I think, would have to be Everything I Know from In the Heights. Which, In the Heights, spoilers. After Abuela passes away, which is kind of like, whenever there's, this is horrible, but whenever there's like an older character in a musical, you're like, got a bad feeling about you. You're not making it through Act 2. And after Abuela dies following the blackout, Navi and Vanessa are going through her possessions. And Vanessa finds... Oh, excuse me. It's not Vanessa. It's Nina. Navi and Nina are going through her possessions. And Nina finds all of her... Like, all of these mementos from her life in Abuela's possession. She finds, like, a picture of Navi as a baby. And her own high school graduation program with a program mint condition with a star beside my name. And, like... my godfather made these two, like, very beautiful framed things with a playbill, a poster, and a ticket stub from plays I was in and gave them to me. So every time I hear that, I just picture those two things. Yeah. And so I always have, like, that, you know, I'll make you proud of everything I know. Mm-hmm. And if you ever lost someone and that you've, like, you have that drive of, like, I want you to see this. I want you to be proud of me. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's Everything I Know.
That makes sense. That's nice. So that being said, you want to talk about this Colossal Cruise?
Sadthings.com. Sorry. Taking it down. Mm-hmm. Colossal Cruise. So Chris Presley asked, what do you think of the Colossal Con cruise out of Port Canaveral happening next January? The idea of a cruise con has popped up many, many times before, but I think these folks might be able to successfully pull it off given the recent smashing success of Colossal Con East last September. What are your thoughts? I mean, I said my thoughts were, hey, how do we get booked?
Yeah, I will start by saying...
Love me.
Colossal Con has been a con we've been trying to do for years. Like, we did a con at Anime Punch. We did Anime Punch in Ohio, which is where Colossal Con is. And we met people who ran Colossal Con, and they were like, +2 Comedy, you're great. You're going to get booked. And then we never got booked. So Colossal Con is something we've always wanted to do. It's in a water park, from what I understand.
Yes.
If I'm wrong, it's because I've never been there, because we've never gotten booked. But we've been trying to get to Colossal Con forever.
Yeah, unfortunately, Colossal Con East this year is the same weekend as Mag Labs, so I'm not sure which one we're going to be at yet, because it's kind of a little far out for anything to be confirmed for September for us right now. But I mean, let conventions know if you want us there, guys.
Yeah, that really helps.
I know that sounds like kind of baggy, but it really, when audiences say like we love +2 Comedy, they're more likely to not be like, who are you, when I cold email them.
Yes, exactly.
And I do love when they're happy to hear from me instead of being like, and you are who exactly? Mm-hmm.
And like, it's still a fun thrill when a con contacts us.
Oh, it really is.
Like, I just contacted a bunch of people to do the podcast, like when we're not in our home. And like, there was quite a few people who are like, what, thank you for reaching out to me. And it's like, yeah, I think people are cool. So like, it's nice, is what I'm saying. A con that's also a cruise is such an interesting idea.
I can see where it would work and the possible pitfalls.
Well, my first thought immediately was con funk. There's always con funk. And I was like, well, if we're all just trapped on a boat, is that going to make it worse? Or is it like, nah, it's just a boat. We're basically outside. The ocean covers everything.
My fear would be con flu being worse.
Yeah, con crud.
Because you're kind of stuck on, and like, if somebody's sick on a cruise, everybody's sick on a cruise. I mean, they have sidelined cruises for illness before. Mm-hmm. And so especially being in January, that's in the middle of cold and flu season, as anyone who's ever attended MagFest can tell you.
Yeah.
You almost died after MagFest.
I did. So, like, the logistics of it scare me a bit. I don't understand, because I don't think the internet works on a boat.
Ooh.
So, like, that seems like a weird thing to have a bunch of nerds go do.
Oh man, if the cosplayers can't Instagram.
Exactly. Like, if I can't tweet, I kind of freak out. So, and I don't tweet that much. So that's a concern. I don't know how many cruises are a weekend. So would this be a week?
It's, according to my calculations, it's from Friday, January 25th to Monday, January 28th. So it's a 4-day cruise.
A 4-day cruise. Okay. Looking at it from the other side of the curtain.
Ooh, there's free drinks.
Oh, this is already a huge mistake. Oh, they've already got, like... Oh, Manly Battleships is going to be there. Manly Battleships, I think, is the group I've done the most cons with and never held a conversation with.
I can't tell if this is for the boat or for Colossal Con East.
Oh. Well, now I'm confused. Well, we're going to apply, because we're crazy. But looking at it from the other side of the curtain... It's
for Colossal Con East.
Okay. As someone who's performed at cons for quite some time, there's a lot of cons that run like a sinking ship. Where it's like, we need someone to fill holes. And we as Plus 2 Comedy are amazing hole fillers. Like, one of our favorite...
Phrasing! Are we still doing phrasing?
No, we're not. It's over. Oh. But, like, we've done a panel that we've lovingly called Plus 2 Comedy Dicks Around for an hour because something had to go on. Like, we've done many conventions where our show is over and whoever's on after us is not there. So people are like, can you just do more stuff? Yeah, I could do more stuff, whatever. And the idea of being on a boat where, like, yo, we need something now. Like, I know we would be thrown through the ringer. And, like...
But you love that.
I do. I love the war stories and stuff. Our biggest war story, and I've said this before, and I don't mind saying it again, because I don't think the people who did this to us even work for that con anymore. But we did 16 hours for Necco Con.
Oh, I remember that.
And, like, 16 hours unpaid. Like, we did 16 hours because we were supposed to get paid the next year, and the next year they didn't book us.
Did you guys have to cover your own hotel? This was before I joined the group.
We covered our own hotel. We covered our own Well, I think we got, like, a little compensation. Like, after we were like, dude, we're dying here. But the idea was you do all this stuff, and then you'd be guests at other cons. And, like, as we finished up the last panel, the guy came up to me and he said, we'll see what we can do about next year. And I went, see what you can do?
Yeah, that was also, like, the nastiest another guest has ever been to you.
Oh, yeah, when we got...
You got thrown off a panel.
We got thrown off a panel. We got booked to do 16 hours. And so it's weird for me to be like, hey, what do you mean we're not on this show? But we were going to do Guests Uncensored, and we were super excited to do it because it was us. It was, Hey Ash, what you playing? It was, oh God, Bloom? What's his first?
Steve Bloom.
Steve Bloom was there, who was a sweetheart and very nice to us.
Dang.
But we were just, like, on stage, and, like, moments before the show started, somebody came up to us like, why are you here? It's like, because this is what we do. And they're like, no, you're not a guest. You're a panelist. Get off the stage. And we're like, oh, I mean, we were doing you a favor, but whatever.
We will not say who it was, but we will say definitively it was not Steve Bloom.
It was not Steve Bloom who said that, yes. That being said, Necco Con, we super have fun at your con, and you'd stop bringing us back. I know that we did everything, so you'd think that there's nothing left in the tank. But
That's not true, though, because you guys did Necco Con in, like, 2012.
Yeah, we have so much more stuff now.
I mean, that was pre-Game the Gamer. Yeah. That was at least 3 or 4 tentacles ago. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even there yet.
Yeah. The problem I'm discussing has been solved. So don't write angry emails to Necco Con. Write happy emails saying that we should be brought back, because I'd love to do Necco Con again. Some of our best fans I met at Necco Con, so shout out to them. They know who they are.
Yay.
So
I think the cruise, I think it would be really cool, but I could see where logistically, having done MagFest, which is almost, if you've never been to MagFest, it is almost an island in and of itself, and seeing the pitfalls of what happens at MagFest, I could see that being an issue on something like the Colossal Con cruise, and it's all too many people, proximity, because MagFest this year, it was a bomb cyclone, so it was like savage cold, no one wanted to leave, so everyone was kind of stuck, so it was that loud Colossus roar at all hours.
I mean, that's MagFest.
But like,
that's nothing new.
But there was nowhere else for it to go, like, there was nowhere to eat, so I could see that kind of...
That was a huge problem.
I could see that kind of you are trapped situation being scary.
And, like...
And that's more of the pitfalls of a cruise more than a con cruise to me.
Yeah, like, there's also con goers that if they're promised a thing and then that thing doesn't happen, they have a very passionate reaction.
And it's not happy.
And it's not
It
happy.
is not a happy reaction, guys.
And, you know, I don't want to say, you know, con goers are bad or anything like that, but we are there to celebrate our favorite thing.
Yeah.
And if that favorite thing's not there, and there's 200 of us in the same place, and one person says something crazy but easily chanted, oh, then we're all about it.
So, this comes from Newark Comic Con 2011.
Oh, goodness.
It was announced, like, maybe 2 weeks before the convention that Chris Evans and Tom Hiddleston were going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And this was before New York became the second to San Diego, and this was before New York had, like, really top-line guests like that, and this was before the MCU actors were regularly appearing at conventions. Mm-hmm. And the panel was supposed to be at, I believe, 7 or 8. We went to get down in line at 3, and we were already locked out.
Mm-hmm. And my memory of it was a girl in a Raichu costume with a bullhorn yelled that it was closed directly into my ear. And it was such a loud space that I was next to her and I heard it and no one else did. Like she screamed it and I fell over because it was like so loud. And people picked me up and said, "What'd she say?" And I was like, "She said we're not getting in." What? And then we felt the riot starting. And
then you, me, and our friend Beth looked at each other and went, "Run."
Yeah, well, let's get out of here.
And it was like my Jurassic Park action sequence. Mm-hmm. Like, three nerds in cosplay running up the steps. I think I was dressed as Rapunzel. Beth was dressed as Peggy Carter. And I forget, you were Speed Racer.
I was Speed Racer, yes.
And so, picture that, if you will. Rapunzel, Speed Racer, and Peggy Carter running up a non-functioning escalator, going, "Oh no!" And then the riot starting.
Yeah, and then the year after that was the year of Walking Dead, when people cared about that show, remember?
And that was the year we were actually booked.
And that was the year we were booked, and that was the year that...
It was a good year.
On Friday, I asked someone what they were in line for. And they said the Walking Dead panel. And I was like, "Isn't that tomorrow?" And they said, "Yes."
Oof.
And I was like, "Oh, man. I want to talk to that person now."
Yeah, that's a...
And ask them about their feelings on The Walking Dead.
Oh, that is a show that jumped the shark.
Oh, God.
Several different times.
Yeah. No, it didn't make it. The shark just grabbed him.
If you're still watching Walking Dead, let us know why in the comments.
Yeah, dear God.
Please.
Dear God, let us know.
Like, this isn't us panhandling for fan interaction. We are genuinely curious. Oh,
do you have something?
Jeff Stormer had a really good prompt.
Okay.
Party of One podcast and Talking Nog's Jeff Stormer.
Don't talk about Talking Nog.
Talking Nog! Recommending each other a book, movie, TV show, game, comic, and song you don't think the other is familiar with that you'd think they'd enjoy. This is hard because we have known each other for nearly 8 years.
This is going to be really hard. But I think this will be a fun game.
Either that or this is going to turn full Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Especially since, let's start with movie. And there's been quite a few movies that you have never seen that I've shown you and you've hated.
What's up, Rubber?
That Rubber was the first time I had ever seen that.
I hated Rubber.
Rubber's. I don't want to get into. I don't want to go down this road.
I'm just gonna do this noise again.
You're not supposed to like Rubber. That's why it's interesting.
Blah.
But you didn't really enjoy Airplane?
No, I think my issue with Airplane is I needed to see it when I was younger and hadn't heard every joke in it so many times. Like, that was my issue with The Hangover. I saw The Hangover in, 2014, and if you waited 5 years to see The Hangover, you knew all the jokes already. Mm-hmm. The jokes were great the first time I heard them, but the first time I heard them was 10, 15 years before I saw the movie.
You also hated Let It Snow, which was a little independent film that I saw on HBO when I was, in high school, that I just, I thought it was adorable, and you disliked it to a point where I don't enjoy it anymore?
Wow, you know what's funny? I found that movie utterly forgettable. I cannot tell you anything that happens in that movie.
You pointed out every flaw that the film has.
I mean, I'm sure I did.
I don't... My favorite part of that movie is the ending, and you were on your phone.
Yeah, that's right.
You had no... you didn't care about this film at all, and it was one of my favorite movies.
Guys, I'm a jerk.
So, this is going to be especially hard for me to think of a movie that, because we've played this game many times. I showed you all these emotional films that I really liked, and you were like, I like films with explosions. And I was like, all right, I got this one. And I threw in Shoot 'Em Up, and we made it through 8 minutes of it.
I like films with this is horrible. I like the films with essentially fake violence. Mm-hmm. I don't like gore, and Shoot 'Em Up was very gory.
It does have its gore, but at its core, Shoot 'Em Up is trope porn.
Right.
And I was like, oh, Laura's gonna love this. And then someone got stabbed with a carrot, and you're like, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not a big gore Hot Fuzz is such a good movie, but there's certain parts I'm like, I'm gonna hide now.
Yeah, that one moment with, what's his name?
When the roof falls.
Oh,
through
when
the guy.
Roof falls. That's not the part I was thinking.
That's the part that I'm always like, well, I'm gonna go to the bathroom now, and I love that movie.
Yeah.
But I'm not a gore person. I have to look away when you play Friday the 13th.
That is really gory.
I'm not a gore person. I'm not a slasher movie person.
That is super gory.
A good example is Pacific Rim, where you really don't see any actual gore or I like consequence-free violence. I know that's terrible and a affliction of United States culture.
Right.
But I like even Jurassic Park, you don't see a lot of gore. The really only gory moment in Jurassic Park is when Samuel L. Jackson's arm is in the thing-a-thing. Cabinet.
Computer's making weird noises. Yeah, that's true.
So I'm not a big gore person, and Shoot 'Em Up is a very gory movie.
So,
I also do have to care about the characters, which is a hard balance to strike.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have my choice, and it's a film that we've looked for many times.
I've been too busy defending myself to come up with a choice, because you've been attacking me this whole
No,
time.
I just feel like it's hard for me to, I've known you for a very long time and has never pinpointed your taste. But I do have a movie that I think you would enjoy, that we've looked for many times and have never been able to find. And that's Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, I think I would adore that.
Josie and the Pussycats, if you guys haven't seen it, it should be really dumb. It should be, one of those dumb cash-in movies for, an audience that doesn't exist. But it's actually really clever and awesome soundtrack. One of the best soundtracks. One of my favorite soundtracks. And it's a lot of fun, and it's very tropey. Lots of trope porn. And I remember when this movie came out, I said...
It's only $7 on Amazon.
I said when this movie came out that this movie cost a nickel to make because there's so much product placement in it.
Yeah.
They didn't take a dime for product placement.
They just put it in?
They just put it in just
That's
to make
funny.
the movie, which is insane to me. But, yeah, I would say Josie and the Pussycats, it's a super underrated fun film.
I think I would genuinely really like that movie. I'm trying to think of, like, a movie I love that you... Thing is, you used to watch movies every single day, multiple movies a day.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to come up with something you haven't seen.
Yeah, it's tough. I used to... basically, we had a hot box, which let us have all the pay-per-view channels when I was in high school and grade school. And basically, I would come home and I would watch whatever was on.
Right.
So, like, and, like, whatever was on. So, like, at a very young age, I watched, like, the gore fest that is Gladiator and hated it. One Night at McCool's. If you've ever seen One Night at McCool's, hit me up and we'll talk about it. What a weird film that was. Let It Snow, you know, stuff like that. I watched Zoolander just on repeat. Just kind of like, I'm home.
The first Zoolander's good.
Yeah. Zoolander and Father of the Bride 2, I've probably seen more than any other film.
I'm a little behind the 8 ball here because you did that, you wanted to watch 30 movies in 30 days, and most of my recommendations you actually did eventually take.
I don't know, I didn't finish that.
I know you did not care for Empire Records.
Empire Records is... You know what? I enjoy it more thinking back on it retrospectively than I did in the moment. Because it felt like it should have been a series. And I still think it should have been a series. I totally watch Empire Records, the series.
I can't believe that with all of the 90s reboots that, like, Netflix didn't think to just do... I mean, obviously you'd have to recast everybody, but you could do, like, a 90s nostalgia series based on Empire Records really easily.
There's also the fact that we found out recently that there's, like, 2 very different versions of Empire Records.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one I saw. So there's a chance I saw the bad one.
No, you saw the good one. You saw the DVD release I have, which is the one you saw, was, like, the ultimate cut. Okay. It has another name, but I have no idea where the case to that DVD is. I know where the actual disc is, but I don't know where the case is.
Oh, the ultimate remix?
Yes.
Because that's the bad one.
I don't... No, it's not.
The remix is the one where they change stuff from the theatrical release.
We just watched this Good Bad Flicks, and I can't remember it.
That's what I recall.
I'm trying to think, because, like... I have bullied you into watching a lot of the films that I would think of. Mm-hmm. And then there's movies that I genuinely am not sure if you've seen.
Well, give me one of those.
Did you ever see Mask of the Phantasm?
I not well enough for me to say that I've seen it. Like, I remember renting it.
Oh my god.
And I remember my parents being like, "You're not going to like this." I'm like, "Screw you, I'm renting it."
Oh my god.
And then I remember, like, leaving the room while it was on.
I mean, we should definitely watch it. It ages pretty well. It ages very, like, and, like, if you don't know the twist is really cool. And I'm going to assume you don't remember the twist by the fact that you're looking at me funny.
I know. I think if I watched the film, I'd be like, "Oh, that's who it is."
Yeah. I mean, it's when you get a little older, it's not as, like, surprise.
Right.
When you're older, you can see the clues, and you're like, "Well, yeah." Mm-hmm.
I think Mask of the Phantasm is a good choice.
My other one would be The Dark Knight Returns, the animated one, which we own, but is living on my desk at work.
Yeah, I don't know that one. I think the only animated Batman I saw besides Mask of the Phantasm, kind of, is the one that was supposed to bridge the gap between Batman Begins and the
Gotham Knight.
Gotham Knight, which was super.
I mean, Batman animated films. Good. There's a bunch that I've been meaning to watch. I've been meaning to watch Gotham by Gaslight. I've been meaning to watch...
That looks real good.
Batman and Harley Quinn looks hilarious. And I've been meaning to watch that. And I have not been meaning to watch The Killing Joke, because it's bad and it should feel bad.
Yeah, we actually did promise that we would do a watch along.
Oh, yeah. Somebody actually gave me the digital copy of it, because...
That's something we have to do.
They wanted me to suffer.
That's a +2 comedy extra coming out. We'll do that soon. And I watched Batman Bad Blood, so I could say that my favorite Batman cartoon was Batman Bad Blood. It used to be Mad Love, but now it's Bad Blood. I watched it just so I could write that joke. So it was book. I actually have a book in mind.
Okay.
So we'll do that. And I've said Hitchhiker's Guide to you 100 times.
I keep meaning to pick it up and then just not picking it up for some reason.
It's so good. But I won't say that to you. I will say, because we talked about Batman, one of my favorite Batman comics is Batman Gone Sane, which I've never heard anyone else talk about.
Do we have it?
No.
Huh.
I read it in the bookstore, and it was when I was poor, and I just read it cover to cover there and didn't buy it. But Batman Gone Sane is the story of the Joker killing Batman.
Oh my gosh.
Batman dies. And it's like, well, what do I do now?
Oh, that's cool.
And without Batman, there's no need for the Joker to exist. So he just becomes a guy. Yeah, it's wild.
That sounds awesome.
It is one of my... Yeah.
That sounds really awesome.
It's so, like, he finds a girl, and they're really into old 1930s radio plays. So, like, they just sit at home and listen to those together. It's super interesting.
Oh, that's really crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm also going to recommend a graphic novel to you because because you actually... Again, you actually did eventually read The Things They Carried for Work.
I did.
And that's the book I always push on people.
I didn't enjoy it because of my dyslexia.
Yeah, the names are... Because one of the things I enjoy about it is one of the things you don't like about it. And it was the way the characters are named. Like,
yes, the way the characters are named, and there's no quotations in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that really breaks my brain. Is that there's no dialogue. It's all just like, the man spoke of blah, blah, blah. Like, it's all, like, very third person and removed, and I had a really hard time getting into it.
And that's how the characters are named. Like, they never really said Ted. It was Ted Lavender who was scared.
Yeah, that stuff, like...
And I really love that in it.
Mm-hmm. And it really... I hate the fact that it's just, like, I am unable to enjoy this book. So... Yeah, that's tough.
So I would say Superman for all seasons.
You've been saying this for a while, and I have my prejudice against soups, so I've never really given it a chance.
Superman for all seasons is a really interesting way of doing it. It's, the phrase is a man for all seasons, and Superman for all seasons was 4 single issues that were parts of one story.
Right.
I go over this. I actually teach this book in my class because the symbolism and the literature are really ham-handed, so it's a really good first book to talk about graphic novels as literature. But it's Superman graduating high school and leaving Smallville, putting down roots in Metropolis, having a horrific trial and actually losing someone in Metropolis, and then returning home and trying to, like, heal from that.
Right.
And it's an optimistic, sweet story in a lot of ways. And it's a kind story. And it's very much what I consider Superman. Like, it's that American pastoralism. It's that very... It's like just a nice story. Like, it's a pretty quick read. Like, it's not Batman complicated. There's only, like, maybe a dozen characters total. And that's, I think, counting Jimmy Olsen, who's, like, not in it.
Yeah.
It's like Mom, Pa Kent, Clark, his 2 friends from home, one of which is Lana Lang, the dog, Lex Luthor, a scientist, and Lois Lane. And then, like, a bunch of little throwaway characters. So that's, like, 8 people and then some random throwaway characters.
All right. I will read that.
I will remember to bring it home from work, because that's also...
Okay, then I'll read it then.
I mean, I'll bring it home tomorrow. Since I teach the book, it's living on my desk.
And then a game was on there. Game, and I've said this before to many people. The Adventures of Cookies and Cream. The Adventures of Cookies and Cream are about two bunnies who want to have the Moon Festival, but the moon has gone missing.
Aww.
So they have to search for the moon. And Cookie is on one side of the screen, and Cream is on the other. And they can't get through the level without help from the other.
Oh, so it's
like
that's really cute.
You'll walk along and you'll see a locked door, and I will have the lever to open it on my side.
Oh, that's cool.
And it is cute and adorable for 3 levels. After that, it is a test in friendship. And I've played it to almost completion twice with my best friends at the time. I did it with Mike McLean and I did it with John Snyder. And like,
I'm making a horrified face because in my mind, John is just screaming.
And it's one of those things where like, and when I did it with John, I had like knowledge of like, dude, hang in there, it's coming.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then we got to those parts and we're screaming and we're like desperately trying to find the moon. And we beat it. Not to completion. There's an extra level that you unlock that I believe is impossible. But I would love to attempt it with you.
Okay.
And I believe I just found it.
Yes, you did.
So
you had left it at your parents' house when we moved.
It was the first game. My parents got me a PlayStation 2 when I was 16. And that was the game they got for me. And I was like, really? You think this is who I am? A game that I want to play a game with bunnies. But that's a game that I've held with me for quite some time. So that would be the game I would choose, is The Adventures of Cookies and Cream. Try it, everyone.
For you, I would recommend Lego Star Wars.
Okay.
It's a little... It's very funny. And it's got that, like, very cartoon... Like, when you kill an enemy, they just fall apart.
Yes.
Legos. And the Lego Star Wars games, I believe, might have been the first one they did. And, I mean, they were really great, and they held my interest in a way. A lot of video games that are done that way don't. I tend to like 2D platformers because I am lazy.
I played it for about 5 minutes with John, and we got frustrated and quit because it was more complex than we gave it credit for.
Yeah, it's not... It's easy to dismiss it as being a little kid game.
Yeah, and there's more to it than I expected.
It's accessible for children, but it isn't a children's game. And that's how all the Lego games are. I have Star Wars, Batman, and Harry Potter.
Right.
And I actually have the Marvel one, too, for 3DS.
And we have Dimensions, we just never played. So, Song, I'm having a tough time really coming up with something.
Oh, man.
Because I know recently I had you listen to Nerds by Bo Burnham.
Which I really enjoyed.
Which is, super good.
You're not a huge music guy.
Yeah, like, you can pretty much name any song and I haven't heard it. And you have introduced me to a lot of music.
Yeah, because
you make me a lot of mix CDs.
And I sing relentlessly in our home.
You do. There are a few songs that, when I actually hear the real version, I'm like, this isn't how this goes. It's one woman singing, and there's the sound of cooking.
Or showering.
Yeah.
On my friend's wedding website, she actually says that, like, she's still weirded out after all this time to hear a shower running and silence. Because she now lives with her fiance, and she says it's unnerving when she hears a shower running and she doesn't hear me. Because we lived together for 4 years, and, like, that was inevitable. There's a video somewhere of our shower door in our senior year apartment, and it's one of our housemates sitting outside singing the Neil Patrick Harris side of On the Rise, because I am in the shower unaware this is happening, singing the Felicia Day side.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I don't know that Janella's out there.
That's funny. That's really funny. So I'm not a big music guy.
Song, it's hard because I kind of already, like, listen to this! Like, you came out of the shower and I was on my 4th listen of the Lin-Manuel Miranda Ben Platt Found Tonight. I watched that video 4 times while you were in the shower.
Well, the last song that I loved that I made you listen to, you were again done with halfway through, but it was the theme to Monday Night Raw for a while. And you were just like, this is garbage. And I'm just like screaming. I
think it's the same thing with, it's not part of my history and it's not part of my past.
And you're like, and because it's also not a song that I would normally associate myself with.
Right.
It might have actually been like the theme to SmackDown or something. I can't even think of what it was now.
I remember this. It was garbage.
Yeah, we were driving back from the podcast, and I was just like, what? And I believe my reaction was, what is this doing on the radio? And I turned it up, and you're like, meh.
I care not for this.
It might have been Thorn in your eye.
Yeah, it's just, and it's not part of my past.
Yeah.
There's a song that I'm not sure you've heard of. It was in a couple movies in the mid-2000s, but it's kind of obscure. This band called Smash Mouth.
Oh.
Did a song called All Star.
All Star.
Yeah, it's kind of like a deep cut track for them.
Okay.
But like, I kind of dig it.
Not on the level of When the Morning Comes?
It was a little like, I think it might have been like a B-side to When the Morning Comes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Right in that Pacific Coast party age of Smash Mouth.
Sorry, this is a joke that we do to people.
It is horrible. My favorite joke. I've said many times my favorite joke is pretending to not know the song All Star because people get so upset.
You almost got punched out at a wedding.
I almost got punched out at a wedding. I almost got into a fight with my best friend from college. Like, people get really upset if you pretend like you don't know the song All Star by Smash Mouth. It's a super fun joke. I highly recommend doing it.
I just realized Jeff split comic and book, but we're just gonna keep it that way.
Yeah. I don't read enough,
and I read a lot, but I know that a lot of what I read isn't gonna appeal to you.
Mm-hmm. I had a song, and it's just
sorry.
You're gonna think it's weird, and you're gonna claim you've heard it, but you haven't. It's called Aquamans Lament by Random Gibberish. Not
Mark Aaron James.
Not Mark Aaron James. And I've talked on this podcast before about my love for Aquaman. And it's a song that we used to play on CSW radio back when me and Will had a radio show in college. And it's a song about Aquaman, but like the person singing it is failing to describe Aquaman.
Okay.
And he's like, he can fly. And it's like, no, he can't at all. Did he super strong? I mean, not really.
Okay, this is funny.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I've always related with Aquaman because I've chosen a path in life where it's like, why would you do that?
I get that.
Like, what a waste. And Aquaman, like, as a character, I'll just restate what I've said. I said this on the Solo podcast. Everybody wants to be Superman because everybody loves Superman. I want to be Aquaman because the people who love Aquaman
love Aquaman.
No, our Atlanteans are his people. So to his people, he is Superman.
Okay.
I don't care about people who aren't nerds. Like, those are my people and those are the people I care about. So I want to appeal to them. And if the people up on the surface don't give a crap about me, so be it.
You'd rather be 9 people's favorite thing?
Yes, 100%. Like, that is something I've always lived by, is title of shows, 9 people's favorite thing, and then 100 people's 9th favorite thing. I've chosen a very weird, and many people would say poor path with my comedy career. But
I disagree strongly that you've chosen a poor path.
I mean, like, if I've chosen the path for comedy, I'd be in New York or LA, and I don't want to be there. Like, I'm much happier here.
I think you get booked on more shows more successfully doing what you do, though.
I think so.
Like on Tuesday when he's opening for
Jay Black.
Yeah, when I'm
officially opening for Jay Black. I actually got more details about that show.
There's free pizza.
If you're interested, for me. I think I'm hosting. I think that, and it's going to be me and Mike Casey and.
Oh, I know Mike Casey.
And yeah, I love Mike Casey. I haven't seen Mike Casey in forever. I'm going to give him a big hug. And Jonathan Van Helman.
Hallam with an M.
Hallam.
Hallam with an M. He actually said specifically.
With an M, yeah. All right. So yeah. Come see me on Tuesday at Stockton.
I had a song I was going to push on you, and then I forgot it because we were talking about Aquaman for so long.
Yeah, go for it.
I forgot it because we were talking about Aquaman for so long. Man, I totally blanked on it because we went on like a 2-minute Aquaman drive.
Special.
I know. And it's one of those things of like those things that are so ingrained in your history. Like I love musical theater, and 98% of the show tunes Noah knows are from living in our house.
That seems a bit high. Just a touch high.
It's like everything.
I did go to theater school.
But it's like everything but Godspell and title of show.
No. Like, Rent, Hair, Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, City of Angels, which
City of Angels is good.
Baller musical.
Yeah, City of Angels is good.
City
of Angels is hard to do because if you do the black and white version, the way City of Angels is staged, there's difficult makeup and costuming for one side, so a lot of people won't do it because they're like, that's...
We did a spectacular version at GCIT.
But a lot of people are like, that's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Not gonna do it.
A lot of people dyed their hair black.
Oof.
But yeah, spectacular show. Check out City of Angels. It has nothing to do with that terrible Nicolas Cage film.
Ooh.
So is there anything else that
I'm trying to think
while you're thinking of your song that I should be thinking of? Like,
I'm really bothered by the fact that I can't remember the song.
Because it was movie, book, game...
TV show.
Oh, and TV show. TV
show's another hard one because we've kind of forced a lot of things on each other by now.
I know I only made you watch one episode because I couldn't find a good rip of it, of Clone High.
I liked
which is
the episode I saw.
So good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the episode I saw. But it was like a terrible quality YouTube video.
If I can find it, just so you can watch the Christmas episode, the Three Friends and Jerry show was a show from my childhood that I super loved. And it's about that group of friends that has that one friend that no one really likes.
Ooh.
But they include him anyway.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a very adult show that they showed on the Fox Family Channel.
That'll happen.
And me and my buddies would get together at recess to talk about it. And we'd be like, yo, did you see this? They can't show us this.
Oh my god.
Maybe we'll pull some stuff up after we record this and we'll add it to the end of this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was I had one in mind and then forgot it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I kind of have one in mind and then you talk for long enough that I forget it.
I'm trying to talk so you can think of it. That's what years of working with Will has done.
Yeah.
Is I'll jump in so Will has time to think of something.
Yeah, I'm... Because I was trying to think... You know what? No, I know exactly what TV show I would push on you given the chance. Have I ever made you watch Gargoyles?
No, we've never actually watched Gargoyles.
Gargoyles... Kids. Gather, ye Christians. Gargoyles... I owned the pilot... Like, I owned the clamshell VHS of the pilot. And it actually ages really well and has one of the most interesting, very special episodes in 90s cartoons. There's an episode called Deadly Force, where Broadway, who's one of the Gargoyles, because they're all named after parts of New York or, like, landmarks in New York, which is one of my favorite lines in any cartoon of Elisa Maza, the one human, asks what she calls the Gargoyles. And the oldest gargoyle goes, "Does the river have a name?" And she goes, "The river's the Hudson." And he goes, "Then I will be the Hudson as well." And then he's Hudson. But, so Broadway finds Elisa's gun. Elisa is a cop. And shoots her with it by accident. And they, like, you see it. And in the original broadcast, there was blood. They've deleted that in, like, the syndication broadcasts. But the whole thing was, it was about storing your gun safely.
Mm-hmm.
It was that, like, guns are not toys, and for adults that they should keep their gun unloaded and safely locked away. And it's like, it's a message that kind of needs to be out there in more kids' TV shows.
I miss the public service announcement at the end of cartoons.
And no, it was half the battle.
I remember, I don't think it was G.I. Joe, it was something else. Where, maybe Inspector Gadget.
Mm-hmm.
Inspector Gadget used to do that. Where it was like, if you find a gun, tell an adult, don't touch it. Especially not by the handle, because that's where the trigger is.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being told those things.
And, like, that's an important message that doesn't really, like... I mean, obviously, Deadly Force now is only shown censored on Disney XD, if Disney XD even still shows Gargoyles.
Yeah,
we don't have that channel anymore, so I don't know.
No idea. I don't even know if that's a channel.
Yes, it is. But it's one of those shows that, like, that's a really important, almost more important than, like, some of the standard green Aesop, like, although I still, every time I take the recycling out, I think of Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, recycling day.
RECYCLE, recycle. CONSERVE, conserve.
Why is he spelling?
Don't POLLUTE, pollute the river, sky, and sea, or else you're gonna get what you deserve.
Well, there was a whole song that I missed the rehearsals.
Yeah, still trying to think of the song. It's hard because with songs, I'm so, like, I'd actually have to go really far back into, like, my past. Because if I like a song nowadays, I push it on you so hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Because now you'll inevitably listen to me sing it or have it playing in our home.
Like I remember when we went and saw Hamilton, sitting there going, "Oh, that's where that song's from. I know it as the shower song."
They're all the shower song here. But yeah, I'm just trying to think of another, like, I can't really think of another song I would push on you. Mm-hmm. Recently, I heard King of Wishful Thinking today in the diner.
That's a great song.
And I was like, I really want to become obsessed with that song. I think I will. So that's going to be what I become obsessed with for the next week. Mm-hmm. Jeff Stormer actually sent me a song that I'm very obsessed with called You Were Cool.
Yeah.
And I think you heard that for the first time, like, maybe a week ago.
Yeah, I was just knew it as a song you sang.
Yeah, it's...
And only, like, 8 sentences of it.
Yeah, because I didn't know all the words. But yeah, that's a really good song. It Suits You by Kirby... Oh! I thought of it!
Okay.
So there's a song, it's the Chainsmokers, who are, like, kind of a garbage group. It's like them and Coldplay did the song called Something Just Like This. And I really like it to the point where, like, it might be a contender for the First Dance at Our Wedding.
I don't think I've ever really listened to it. I've heard it, but I don't think I've ever listened to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, you've heard it as, like, ambient noise, but it's, like, you know, and it's a love song that name-checks Spider-Man and Batman, which I like.
Oh, wow.
With Spider-Man's control and Batman with his fists. Clearly, I don't see myself in none of this.
See, nothing else the Chainsmokers made sounded like Selfie.
But first,
I love garbage music like that.
You super do. Oh my god. Like, and like, I kind of know that it's not like a good song, but I also really enjoy it.
Gotcha. Alright.
So that was the song I was thinking of.
I'll give it a listen.
We own it. I paid American dollars for it.
So let's end out with one more thing.
Okay.
I know Frank wanted us to talk about Far Cry 5. I don't know enough about it to give a good explanation of it.
I know it comes out next week.
Yeah, I'll have opinions later because it's been pre-ordered as a present for my birthday. So I'll play it. I know Chris Hale wanted us to talk about my first win at Fortnite. Thank you for leading the charge, even though you died and I survived. As I won my first Fortnite win. I'll bring it up casually like that. Somebody wanted us to bring up speed runs, but I don't think you have much opinion on that.
You know, I really don't. It's something I find mystifying because I kind of like dawdling. I don't like being timed.
Yeah, I think we'll have a full discussion about speedruns sometime in the future.
Yeah, I'm a dawdler in video games,
it would be more of me, like, trying to convince you that they're good things.
They're great things. They're just not something I'm interested in doing.
Yeah.
Like, I like to watch them. I find them interesting. Like, I watched some of ADGQ. Mm-hmm. AGDQ.
Yeah, awesome games done quick.
Yeah, I knew what it stood for, but messed up the acronym. And it's awesome, but it's awesome the same way as, like, art is awesome to me. Is like, hey, look, that's a really cool thing I can't do.
Yeah, so that was... Thank you, Razorhawk.
Caw-caw.
Caw-caw. To me, it's kind of gotten to the point, like, of MMA, where... I used to like MMA because I was like, oh, I wonder what this form versus this form would look like. But now everyone knows everything. Yeah. So it's just a blur that I can't understand anymore. So there's a weird metaphor for you. Chrono Trigger.
Death of Toys R Us.
All right, let's talk about Yeah, we'll end this on the death of Toys R Us.
Oh, man. I was at Toys R Us on Saturday. The sale at the Cherry Hill Mall Toys R Us had not yet happened. I think it's supposed to happen shortly. But I really wanted the... I collect Funko Pops because I'm like a basic nerd. Yeah. And they had a Toys R Us exclusive Sprocket from Fraggle Rock. Right. And I usually only buy, like, strong female characters. But I will break that for adorable animals. Yeah. Like, I have Zero, I have Miko, and now I did get Sprocket. Everyone can rest assured. But, it was a madhouse. I'd never seen a Toys R Us so crowded. Yeah. Because everyone was trying to burn gift cards.
That makes sense.
It was all little kids burning up gift cards. It was crazy. Nothing was on sale, and it was just, like, really... I mean, it was Fury Road up in there.
I think... I'm going to sound like an old man for a moment. So get ready. But I think the way toys have changed has really, like, hurt the toy industry. Because I was playing with a child a few years ago. And it's weird that I can't remember the context of why I was playing with this child. But I was trying to play with this toy. And it was like a stuffed dog. And this kid looked at it and said, "What does it do?"
Oh, that's crazy.
I was like, "It's a dog. You pretend like it's a dog." And I was like, "Yeah, but what does it do?" And I was like, "It doesn't do anything. You make the fun." And they're like, "What?" And, like, I'm going to sound old, but, like, Barney's not a thing anymore, really. No. And Barney's big thing was using your imagination. And I don't think that's a thing that, like, we really push anymore.
I think one of the things... Because TV shows for kids go in waves. I think we're actually coming back to imagination.
Good.
They just rebooted Muppet Babies.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right, that's important.
Yeah, like, I think we're coming back to it. But I think for a while, because of the childhood obesity epidemic, interaction was trendy. That's why you have, like, Dora the Explorer tells you to get up and stomp your feet. And,
yes, being active.
We watched why? I'm not sure why. We were getting ready for Zenkai Con last year. Yeah. We were driving up before, and while we were getting ready in the morning, Will was here, and we all just were watching an episode of Sesame Street for no apparent reason.
On HBO.
So we were watching Sesame Street, and there was a part where, like, it was like, get up and stomp your feet, and they're still running segments that ran, 20-some years ago when we were watching Sesame Street.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, like, they're still running those sequences, but now they're running these, like, the counts that you're stomping. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why those are becoming the more popular. Yeah. That was in reaction to the childhood obesity epidemic, and now people are kind of getting a handle on feeding their kids less junk and getting out more, and now we're getting back into, like, using your imagination. Yeah. Because, like, I was a big action figures guy. And me too. Believe it or not, I was a big wrestling guy. What? So I had a big, like, wrestling league with all my action figures. And, like, the things that really stand out that I did was... because everything was in the context of wrestling.
I had all my Star Wars action figures. And I had Han, Leia, Luke, Chewbacca, and the weird dude with the weird-shaped head that's in the cantina scene. And I had Vader.
Okay.
And so we did a big storyline where they had to vanquish Vader.
Right.
And Vader beat everyone.
Oh, no.
But Luke. So Luke beats Vader. Luke's better than Vader. Luke wins a title. He won the Hardcore Championship.
That's adorable.
So we built Luke up, like, you know, we did the Star Wars storyline. What's next? He wins the Hardcore title. And then Han Solo wins a title shot. And then as friends, they have to have a match that's very violent. And Han wins. And Luke kind of has this weird moment of fear, which a Jedi shouldn't have, of, my friend just beat me. A man I saw fail beating Darth Vader. And he beat me, and I beat Darth Vader. So I brought Darth Vader back, and I didn't have an Emperor action figure, but I had Jedi Luke from the third movie. Mm-hmm. So he wore like a big cloak. So I took the cloak off and just made it the Emperor.
WWE, are you listening? Because this is what you're going to do with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. So Luke then questions himself, and questioning leads to suffering or something.
Didn't they do the storyline with Daniel Bryan?
This is way before Daniel Bryan. So Luke joins Vader. And doesn't because he didn't know what to do. And thus, since Luke joined Vader, Leia joins Vader.
Boom, boom, boom.
So now Han is this weird, leader. And it's just him and Chewie versus this insane empire. I loved, I love that story, and I love it in the context of wrestling. And, you probably didn't enjoy it as I weirdly explained it to you. But, that stuff sticks with me still. A lot of my favorite toys as well were people I didn't know who they were. Yeah. And I was just like, well, you're getting your own damn story.
Yeah, I had a Mary Jane from Spider-Man McDonald's toy, and, she came with 2 outfits, but by the time, I found her on, the playground or something, she only had one of them left. I only know she had 2 from, Googling it later. Yeah. And, her name was Tessa, and she was just kind of, a standard, she was a hard-boiled detective. Okay. She was kind of who, the closest thing I can compare her to is Jessica Jones now. And I really don't know much about Jessica Jones, but she was, the hard... But, she was that hard-boiled, superpowered detective. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know anything about Jessica Jones when I was 3. Or, right. 5. So now it's kind of funny because I was like, Jessica Jones. I was like, oh, it's Tessa. Mm-hmm. Who was really Mary Jane. And I didn't watch Spider-Man growing up because it had the word spider in it, and I did not like spiders as a kid. Didn't like spiders. And I was not aware that was not really that integral to the plot.
No. Well, and then he gets the mutated storyline. I don't know. That's a great cartoon, too.
Yeah, I was a Batman the Animated Series girl, full stop.
Mm. I wasn't, and it makes me lose respect for my childhood self.
Oh, I was very into... That Fox had a lineup in, I want to say, 93, 94, and it was, Animaniacs, Batman the Animated Series, and, another weird one, maybe, Pirates of Dark Water or something.
I believe it was Tiny Toons Animaniacs Batman.
I think so. And Batman was on at 4:30.
Because that was the end of the Fox cartoon block that would play after school. Because then it was the news.
Because my mom would pick me up right after Batman.
And I always was I wanted to watch Animaniacs. And when Animaniacs was over, maybe I'd watch Batman.
Oh my god.
But now, as an adult, that is one of the greatest shows ever made.
My little cousin, who's 5 years younger than me and is also now a foot taller than me, my little cousin had, I didn't have a computer growing up. So I was, 9 or 10, and he had this, Batman animated storybook game where you could do your own storylines with the Batman characters. Yep. And I would, just wait for this kid to take a nap. Because when he took a nap, I could go on the computer and I could write Batman. And I haven't changed much. Like, Catwoman was always the lead.
Right.
It was always... And Batgirl... Like, I was writing Gotham City Sirens before Gotham City Sirens was a thing. It was always, like, these very female-centered stories.
Yeah.
Well, you're giggling because you have, like... You're just waiting to tell a story.
No. I'm enjoying this especially because I had that as well. But I had Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean... Because you could drag them and they'd walk. You could almost walk, like... Yep. You'd make, like, a cartoon, almost. And it was...
I wish I had mine.
It was, like, the coolest thing. I no idea. They might still have that computer. I'd probably find it. But he never played that game, and I played it constantly. And now, looking back, I'm like, why did, like, a 3 or 4-year-old have this game? Because I was playing it at, like, 8, 9. Which was more of the appropriate age for that cartoon.
Yeah.
3 or 4 was a little young for Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
But that was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. That, Animaniacs, which is another one when you watch when you're older, you're like, oh dear. Where were my parents?
Yeah.
Then again, like, the biggest culprit with that was Rocco.
Yeah, the biggest culprit was Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy, I disagree, because Ren and Stimpy was so obvious that, like, most kids I know weren't allowed to watch it. The other ones...
That's true. I was not allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy.
I wasn't either, and because I think the other ones were... I don't want to use the word insidious, because that sounds, like, really dramatic, but they were much more, like, low-key about it.
Yeah. The Nickelodeon showrunners, that's probably not the right word, but the people in charge of Nickelodeon didn't realize that the restaurant was called the Choky Chicken until the last season of Rocco.
Oh my god. So going back to Jeff's prompt, that's the book you should read. It's called Slimed. It's an oral history of Nickelodeon. It was super interesting because it's not like, it's surprisingly not that tawdry. Like, you're expecting it to be, like, gross, but it's actually, like, really interesting, and it's a really good expose about the, like, Wild West days of Nickelodeon and how, like, they could do whatever they wanted because nobody really cared because nobody thought anyone was watching.
Yeah.
There's a series now that Nickelodeon itself actually promotes called NSFW. Nick Shows Were Freaking Weird.
Really?
And it's like, it comes up on my Facebook constantly, and it's about, like, all of the things that were not for children in Nickelodeon shows. There's a lot in it, besides, like, this ones you're thinking of, like the I Want You, I Need You, oh baby, oh baby. There's a lot in there that you're like, oh, ooh.
Well, like, I'm thinking, like, really early Nickelodeon, like, before there was Nicktoons. My favorite show was a show called Think Fast, and we're going to watch that as soon as we're done this podcast. But there was a show called Think Fast, and I remember one of the games was someone would come out and tell a story, and you had to answer questions about the story. Basically, Old Mac and the Temple of the Stairs of Knowledge. But I remember watching it as an adult, and the person telling the story forgets their lines.
Oh my god.
And, like, stops and looks around and, like, restarts the story. And I was like, where are your editors?
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was really nuts. Fair, Unfair, and, like, Finders, like, really old school Nickelodeon. It's crazy, because
I'm only, like, a year and a half younger than you, and I don't remember these shows.
Fair, Unfair was, like, their court show.
Yeah, but, like, I don't remember, like, I'm not that much younger than you, and I do not remember those. I remember, it was, like, August 17th, 1991. I'm going to be embarrassingly close, but not quite there on the date. That was the first day I remember making appointment television.
Ooh. And
it was the day the Nicktoons premiered.
Yeah, I remember that, too.
Like, I remember being, like, I could have only been, I know 1991's the right year, so I was 3.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, leaving dinner and being like, Mom, Dad, I have to go watch cartoons. And it was like the first appointment television show for me as like a 3-year-old. I
remember telling my cousin what I thought of the cartoons, of the first ever Nicktoons. August 11th, 1991.
We're so close.
And I remember saying, like, I thought Doug was good. I thought Rugrats was good. But Ren and Stimpy were just flashing colors. Like, In my childhood brain, I was so, like, overwhelmed by what Ren and Stimpy was that all I comprehended was a lot of flashing colors.
I admittedly was not a huge Ren and Stimpy fan. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really liked Rugrats and I really liked Doug. And my favorite still to this day is Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Which I will watch on, because it's on Hulu now. So, like, I will just watch Hey Arnold. Yeah. I also found all of Kablam on the internet.
Yeah, that show's great.
That's a good show.
Well, we've talked about doing the Oh What a Cartoon show for a while.
Yeah,
so.
That's something, if you remember, if you've made it this far, bless.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up soon.
I promise. But if you remember Cartoon Network on New Year's Eve, all day they would run down the What a Cartoon Show cartoons until midnight, where they'd show the top cartoon of the year. Or really like 11:50, because it would end before the ball dropped. And if you remember this, I have been locating all of the cartoons, and I have been considering doing short podcasts of each cartoon. If that's a thing you're interested in, let me know in the comments so I have some motivation to actually do it.
Yeah, please do. But I think that's going to do it for this mailbag episode. We've gone a half hour over time. Like we did with the Razzies, but I think we had a lot of good conversation. So,
and we'll edit out at least 10 minutes of this.
Yeah, probably. So to wrap up, Josie and the Pussycats.
Yep.
Adventures of Cookies and Cream. Mask of the Phantasm.
Slimed the Oral History of Nickelodeon.
The Oral History. Gargoyles. I forget which TV show I told you to watch. Three Friends
Clone
and Jerry
High.
And Clone High. Yeah.
Which we tried to watch. We just don't have a good port of it.
Fantastic. All fantastic. So check those things out. Batman Gone Sane.
Yep. Superman for all seasons.
Superman for all season.
I love that you said a Batman book and I said a Superman book.
Yeah, that's very fitting. So yeah, check all those things out. And Toys R Us. We talked about how much we love toys, but we didn't talk about Toys R Us really going under. But it's sad, and we're bummed. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Laura Prince for being my co-host here.
Hey.
And anything to add?
Oh my goodness. I just applied for a freelance writing thing on the side, so wish me luck on that. And, yeah, let me know if you guys want me to start actually recording, like, the What a Cartoon or, the Very Special Episode podcast, which is another one I was thinking about doing. That I've started pre-production for and not actually followed up with.
We got some good responses on the Razzies episode, so I think this is something we should probably
awesome. Thank you.
Move forward with.
Thank you, whoever responded well to the Razzies episode. You're cool.
Yes, you are cool.
Yeah.
Also, be sure this is finishing up soon, and I meant to talk about it on the podcast, but we don't have time now. The Army tournament. We're crowning the greatest army on our Facebook page. We're up to the quarterfinals, so be sure to check that out. I am desperately trying to pull up our upcoming guests. Upcoming guests include next week on this very show, we will have the creator of Drive Fighter, which for some reason it says Drive Fighter Attack, which is not what it should say. But Drive Fighter, Philip Steinberg will be on the show. Then after that, we'll have Jai, the creator of the Buttress Pillow, on the 5th of May. April.
I'm so happy you got the Buttress guy.
I'm super excited for that. Then on the 12th, we'll have the creator of the new visual novel, Betrayal, Shayna Kishmare. And then on the 19th, it's the High Note Humor champion, James Hancock III. And then on the 26th, we're canceled for the Avengers.
Yo, I got Avengers tickets. That was the only other thing we didn't discuss was who's going to die in Infinity War.
Yeah, so real quick.
Cap or Tony?
Mantis.
No!
Actually, you know what my actual prediction was? I said Mantis randomly. Was they were going to walk into a room and find Ant-Man dead. And then Ant-Man and the Wasp was going to explain why he was dead.
Aww.
That was my theory. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to watching and listening. Be sure to give us 5 stars on iTunes, 5 stars on Stitcher. Vote for us on podcastland.com. Make us the podcast of the month. Listen to us on Spotify and Wildfire Radio. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. And follow us on Twitch, where you can watch these shows live. Not this one, but other ones. Thank you, Net Neutrality, for existing and making the show possible.
And thank you to every state who is suing to keep it there.
This is the Plus 2 Comedy Podcast. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.